Welcome to KeepItReal Studios, the only channel on YouTube that keeps it real. Growing up as a kid, one of my absolute favorite things to do was turn on Cartoon Network and watch Ben 10. Ben 10 was such a huge part of my life. I really loved watching Ben 10. I loved the idea that it was a little kid who had the power to transform into multiple different aliens. At this point in my life, I was so used to superheroes like Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. It was very hard for me as a child to relate to them. You know, Superman was an alien from Krypton, Batman was a rich billionaire with daddy issues, and Spider-Man was an angsty teenager who got bit by a radioactive spider. I could never really relate to these characters. Although I loved them, looked up to them, me as a kid, I could never relate to them and I could never really understand the depth of them. Then one day, I discovered Ben 10, and this show absolutely blew my childlike mind. Not only was the main character a 10-year-old kid, but he was very much a spoiled brat. He was very ignorant, very loudmouth, and he liked to cause a lot of problems. And I myself was a delusional, naive child as well. I was exactly like Ben, so I finally had a character that I could relate to. This might be a little bit off-putting to say, but I feel like Ben 10 taught me a lot of valuable life lessons and a lot of good morals. Throughout the series, you see Ben 10 not only mature, but learn to be a true hero. You see him put his ego aside, put his pride aside in order to help people and save the loved ones around him. And I truly thought that was such an impeccable aspect to have, not only for a superhero, but for a child superhero. And that really opened up my eyes as a little boy to see how far me as an individual could grow into becoming. As the years go by, it truly makes me happy to see that the Ben 10 lore still lives on. Ben 10 has countless series, movies, fan art. I really love the idea that Ben 10 is still very loved and respectable of a character to this day. And it just goes to show how much of an impact it had not only on me, but in the whole world as a whole. This actually leads me into the topic of today's video. I believe that the world truly deserves a live-action Ben 10 series. With all the technology and all the advancements and all the amazing directors that we currently have in the world, I believe right now will be the perfect time to actually create a Ben 10 series. Throughout the recent years, we've managed to see countless reboots. Although I do believe it's targeting the younger and the newer audience and introducing a new style of Ben 10, I feel like all the OG fans really don't appreciate what they're doing with this new Ben 10.
Aw, come on!
And this is actually another reason why I do believe a live action series will be one of the best things for the Ben 10 community and just for entertainment purposes as a whole. In the past, we've gotten a lot of live action movies. Race Against Time and Alien Swarm. When they first came out, this was absolutely mind-blowing to the Ben 10 community. Everybody was just excited to see Ben 10 come to live actions, seeing all the different aliens, the Omnitrix, and all the beloved characters. But as the years go by, it's pretty obvious to the community that it doesn't hold up. The effects are pretty garbage, the acting's not the best, and we didn't even get enough aliens to really appreciate it. That's why I think it's very important that we actually redeem the Ben 10 live action movies by creating this new series. When I'm thinking of a live action Ben 10 series, I want it to be something very impactful to the community. I want it to be something brand new and something that we haven't really seen from Ben 10 in the past. And I feel like this is a big reason why a lot of the live action series did fail, because they just try to kind of recreate what we've seen in the cartoons and bring it into life. But I think it's very important that when you're creating a new live action Ben 10 series, you make it your own thing and have your own adaptation to every single character and even the aliens too as well. I believe revamping the Ben 10 character will be very unique to the audience. Not only would it stop us from comparing it to the past projects, it will make us see Ben 10 in a new light, and it gives the creators free will to kind of create it and make it their own story and add new aspects to the Ben 10 lore. Now, I actually have a couple pictures of what I would like to see the Ben 10 live action series look like. So starting off, I do believe we need to kind of make it similar to the original series, but have Ben a little bit older. Ben wouldn't be 10 years old, maybe he'll be 13. Maybe Ben is stepping into high school. So right now, not only is he having to deal with having this double life, having a secret identity, but he also has to deal with going into high school, dealing with people, dealing with bullies, dealing with work, just a new element and a new dynamic to Ben 10 that we haven't really seen, because we're so used to Ben being on the road, being on summer vacation, but having him in a new setting, in a new environment and making it school. We all know Ben doesn't like school. It will be something very unique to see. I would really love to see Ben be a lot more grounded. I would really love to see not only just the alien aspect and the superhero aspect of Ben, but I want to see the normal side of Ben, see Ben actually grow up throughout these years. That's one of my biggest problems from Ben 10 jumping into Alien Force. I really felt that this huge gap of just Ben being gone for years and we haven't really seen his lifestyle and we didn't even really see why he took off the Omnitrix in the first place. I feel like this live action series can actually really tell what was going on with Ben in between the original series and Alien Force. That is something I would like to see the live action series represent. I believe my pitch not only gives us time to focus on Ben as a character, but we can also look at other characters like Gwen and Max. We can even focus on some of Gwen's parents and Ben's parents too as well. Definitely add elements into their home dynamics into the story. I really want us to make this series very grounded and focusing on the human aspect of Ben too as well. Not only just the aliens and him fighting crime. I would definitely like to see his two worlds intertwine within each other and how does Ben manage to find a way to balance that. My second pitch on a live action Ben 10 series would have to be Ben 10,000. I feel like Ben 10,000 would be such a good character to focus on in a live action series. When I first watched the original Ben 10 series as a child and we saw Ben 10,000, that absolutely blew my mind. Seeing a more grown, mature version of Ben in this futuristic world, I really love that aspect to see how Ben has developed through the years and how he has truly mastered the secrets of the Omnitrix and how he's just become a worldwide loved superhero and he was just kind of the defender of the galaxy. And I think that would be such a beautiful aspect to implement into live action. I truly believe that this Ben 10,000 series could actually be super successful. Not only is Ben 10,000 such a complex character, but there's so much things you can do with it. Since this Ben is a little bit more older and more mature, you could actually make this more of an 18+ show. You can make it more rated R. You can add so much elements and aspects to this Ben 10 that we've never seen at all in the Ben 10 universe. And I really think Ben 10 will be a lot more successful if we saw a darker and more greedier version to him. Because, you know, Ben 10 is a kid's show. They can't really show some certain aspects. But I feel like Ben 10 would actually do a lot more if it was more darker tone and it had a lot of more serious storylines. Ben 10,000 was always one of my favorite characters in the Ben 10 series. Even though we never got to see a lot of him, every time he was on screen, it always blew my mind to see. Just this future Ben and all the storylines that he's gone through was always something unique and I always wanted to see more of him anytime he was on the screen. And with Ben just being in the future, there's so much dynamics you can do. You can do Ben 10 just being grown, having to do with family issues. Maybe he has a wife at this point, he has a child. There's so much different aspects you can put into it. And since it's also in the future, you can expand on the series a lot. You can kind of expand on plumbers, you can expand on the whole galaxy, you can expand on just what's going on in the future with all the different aliens and how is society in this timeline. I feel like there's so much possibilities you can do with just Ben 10,000 in a future setting. And that's why I really think this would be a good pitch for a live action Ben 10 series. Ben 10 is always going to be one of those series that will live on forever. No matter what happens in the future, whether we get a live action series or not, Ben 10 will always have a strong fan base and a strong community, which I believe it totally deserves. It was such a unique show for its time, and I feel like that's why it's still very beloved to this day. To me, Ben 10 was always one of those shows I always thought would do amazing in live action, whether it was a movie or a TV series. I always thought just seeing the aliens coming to life, just seeing the Omnitrix, and just seeing all these different characters in real life form would just be so unique, and it would be a lot more investive as a person watching instead of just watching cartoons. I feel like just seeing the real life characters going through these real life situations and emotions will be something so unique to see on screen. But overall, that's just kind of my thoughts on today's video. I really wish we get to see a Ben 10 live action series. I really hope we get to see it one day. But tell me what you guys thinking down in the comments below. Would you love to see a live action Ben 10 series? If you do, what's your pitch? Please comment down below. That'll be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to keep it real.